Hello buddy, Crow back again with our pickups video. Now before I get into the pickups, something you may have noticed is that I've been starting to stream a lot of what I've been playing online. And I've been doing this on Twitch and on YouTube simultaneously. It works out pretty good. It works a lot better than it did in the past for me, and I think I'm going to be doing that a lot more often. And if you're curious about what my Twitch channel is, it is actually nearly the same as this channel, just a slight tweak because, you know, the names that were taken and everything. But it's CROOOOW and 11. Just 11, not 11, but 11. You'll see it on the screen. It'll make sense. And I'll have a link to the description as well. But what you're here for is to see the pickups. And I'm going to start out with the biggest pickup, as it were, and that's this right here, the Xbox One S. This is a 500 gig model. This has Minecraft in it. Now, honestly, if I were to choose a bundle that I would have wanted, it wouldn't have been this one. I've never played Minecraft, and if I was going to play Minecraft, I'd do it on the PC. I wouldn't do it on a console. Here's the story. I actually found about 2 months ago, shortly after the last pickups video I did, we were at Goodwill, and I saw a whole bunch of brand new Xbox One games. And I'll show the ones I picked up, so I picked up a couple of them, and I'll show those off shortly after I'm done with this story. But I picked them up, and my wife was like, well, now you need an Xbox One S. I was like, yeah, I'll get one further down the road. I just couldn't pass up, a few dollars for these games. So, also I'll have games to play on the Xbox One when I get one, because there are some games on the Xbox One I'm interested in, at least some that are coming out as well. So my wife looked on eBay, and then found one for $40. An original model Xbox One. I think it was refurbished, she said. So she bought it. And, they said they shipped it, and fast forward a couple weeks later, she never got it. The person wouldn't respond to her. So she contacted eBay or PayPal, whatnot, got her money back, and started looking again. And that's when she found this. And brand new, in the box, never opened, on eBay for $40. I don't know how she does it. I was searching. I couldn't find anything this cheap. And it was like very highly suspicious. We got it, unboxed it, plugged it all in. Everything works. Yeah, my thoughts on it is I put it, I know that they sell a stand for this if you want to do it vertically because there's vents on the bottom. And they're selling the stand for like $20, which is like half the price of what I paid for this. I'm like, that's ridiculous. And I just put rubber feet at the bottom of it. But the thing still gets really hot. I don't understand how the thing gets so hot. Way hotter than the PS4 does. So I think that when I do play it, I'm going to have to pull it out. It's no problem. I could just pull it out of the shelf where I have it and just lay it on the floor, play it. Because the heat, there's plenty of ventilation, but it is kind of standing next to the Xbox 360, which I have plugged into the HDMI in on that. So it's just blowing hot air onto the Xbox 360. So I'm like, no, I'm more worried about that than I am the Xbox One overheating. But yeah, so game-wise, what did I get at Goodwill for games? And these are some, I think these might have been launch titles at least. So, but the first one I got, this was about $6 or $7 at Goodwill, sealed, brand new. Rise, Son of Rome. This is the Legendary Edition. It came with some additional DLC. Again, this was one of the games I streamed. I streamed the first games I played on Xbox One. It's what I thought it is. It's not that great. It looks good. It's not, to me, it doesn't feel like a type of game I really like to play. This is more like, okay, slowly advance through the game. It's slow, methodical. I can see where people like this. I can see where people don't like this. I'm really in the middle on this. I honestly don't know if I'm going to go back and play this again. Who knows? I might. But Rise, Son of Rome. And then the game I was really interested in, and they had a ton of copies brand new of this at Goodwill. Sunset, I'm going to say Son of, but Sunset Overdrive. And this is, when I first saw this game, I was like, yeah, if I was going to get an Xbox One, I'd get this game. And this was $2.99 at Goodwill. And they had tons of copies of it, which is why it was probably $2.99. But this game is a lot more fun. It's a lot faster. And while I was playing it, I was saying, you know what? This reminds me of like Jet Grind Radio or Jet Set Radio, only you can shoot. So yeah, there's lots of monsters, there's lots of upgrading, customization, the kind of things that you could really get into a game. I'm more likely to come back to this than I am Rise, Son of Rome. But it is kind of a difficult game to control because you're always moving. The game kind of makes it so you always have to be moving. It's you're more likely to get attacked if you stop and aim and shoot and stuff. So yeah, Sunset Overdrive, I think this is a really good game. I think it's a must-have if you have an Xbox One, especially at $3. How can you pass it up? All right, next up is a game. A friend of mine actually surprised me and bought a copy of this game for me because he supported the game on Kickstarter. And when it got funded, he said he had the option to buy an additional copy at kind of a slightly lower price, I think it was. So he thought of me, bought me the game, and that is Haunted Halloween 86. The Curse of Possum Swallow. Now, I do have Haunted Halloween 85, and I was very interested in getting a copy of Haunted Halloween 86, and he kind of knew that. And before I had a chance to get it myself, I was planning on picking it up at the the Midwest Gaming Classic, and I could have bought a copy there, but he let me know beforehand that he was going to get me a copy of this, so I didn't buy it. Otherwise, it would have been in the last pickup video. Complete in box. It's got an orange cartridge. The last one the first one has a green cartridge. This one has an orange cartridge. Actually, there's different variations. I think that comes in a normal gray cartridge as well. But this is a homebrew game. This fully boxed version also has a manual, and it has also the sleeve that says Retrotainment Games on it. So it is the complete package. The game itself is like a side-scrolling beat-em-up with a Halloween theme. The only I think you got a couple more moves in this game, and you could swap back and forth between the two characters. I also did make my own clamshell case for this because, you know, just so it'll fit on the shelf with all the other NES games I've put in my own collection of clamshells that I've created. So yeah, Haunted Halloween 86. Very happy my friend picked this up for me. I'll probably be playing this, you know, during the Halloween season, as it were, because it is a Halloween game by name. Now, as many of you may or may not know, I do follow Metal Jesus Rocks. I follow him on Twitter. I'm on his Discord. And recently he picked up a huge bundle of Commodore 64 games on Craigslist. And that got me thinking about a couple of Commodore 64 games I was interested in and I could never find on eBay or Craigslist or whatever. So I started searching, and I found a Commodore 64 game that I've been looking for a really long time, complete in box, and this was $50. Now, firstly, I saw it, I was like, $50? I don't want the game that much. And like an hour later, I was like, maybe I do want the game that much. So I paid $50 for this copy of Stealth for the Commodore 64. This is a game I played a lot as a kid, and this is complete. It does have the disc and the manual in here. And even the registration card, I believe, is in here. But the premise of this is so simple. You are like a stealth plane. You're flying low under the radar, and your goal is to fly towards the Dark Tower, not affiliated with the Stephen King books or movie or anything. And it literally says this on the back of the box, the Dark Tower. And once you get close enough, you shoot the Dark Tower, it explodes, and trust me, the animation of that thing exploding is super cool. And you fly away and go on to the next level where the enemies get more and more difficult. I played this game a lot as a kid. I really liked it. You have to, the only ways you could really die is if you collide with another enemy or you run out of fuel. And trust me, you're gonna run out of fuel unless you pick up over the yellow refueling pods. There's also red ones that take away your fuel, but you can shoot them and they'll disappear, but you gotta be careful because you can also shoot the yellow ones. It kind of reminds me a little bit of River Raid in that respect, where you could shoot the fuel containers. So there's a bit of that, but you do have an end goal of getting to that tower and blowing it up. And it was just a game that, for a long time, I couldn't remember anything about it. And but then I saw this, and I was like, okay, you know, when's the next time I'm gonna see this? And I just went ahead and bought it. But this isn't the only Commodore 64 game I bought from that person, because I looked through their store or whatever, see what other Commodore 64 games they had, and they had another one that I had completely forgotten about, and it's right here. This was slightly less. This was $30 complete in box, and this is Crush, Crumble, and Chomp. a game by Epix. This was on multiple platforms, but I remember playing it on the Commodore 64. Now, the thing about this one is it's way better to have this complete than any other really no other remote game. I could hear the Time Machine, but you probably can't because of the microphone. But this does have, I mean, this is a lot easier box to open up. It just kind of lifts up. You've got the disc, you've got the original sleeve in there, but more awesomely, you've got even the how to load disc that's in the bottom there that I'm not going to take out, but you've got this really cool manual with, you know, this manual's got a lot of pictures in there. It's got maps of the locations. It's got details about all the monsters. And then you've got all these quick reference cards, and these things are super cool. And this is even still bounded at the top. Nobody ever ripped these apart. Like, I remember, like, when I was a kid, I played this game. I remember having all these cards, but they weren't glued together like this. Now I'm half afraid to use these because don't like rip the seal. But like on the back, you've got the details of all the monsters and everything. And what's coolest of all is you get to play a Godzilla ripoff named Goshzilla in the game. Goshzilla! But what this actually is, and I'm sure if you're looking at the screen, it doesn't look that impressive, but it really isn't if you think about it. It's really a turn-based strategy monster game. And you can't use a joystick. You have to use the keyboard to issue commands, like to walk and turn. And every time you do an action, the police or the pedestrians, you know, they're fleeing. There's several different game modes. You can even create your own monster in the game. The mode I like to play is where you just try to last as long as possible, where you're running around trying to eat the people to satiate your hunger, because that's pretty much how you're gonna die in the game, is you're gonna get hungry, and then when you get hungry you go berserk, and then you lose control, and usually the monster dies, and that's usually how I play the game, and that's how the game ends for me. So those were the Commodore 64 pickups. So while we're talking about computer games, PC related games, I might as well talk about the games I got from Indie Box recently. And the first of these is Nefarious, where you play a villain with a punching arm, and more confusingly, the villain's name is Crow. I was like, what? But it's kind of cool game. You could punch in any direction you run, and it's kind of got that flip twist on the standard premise where you're the hero going to rescue the princesses. Instead, you're the villain going around kidnapping princesses. And I did play this on a stream sometime last week, but as it is an indie box, it does come with some additional things in here. But what does this come with? This comes with a patch of a princess. It comes with I think this is a bandana or a flag. I'm not going to unwrap that right now. And then the other thing it comes with here is a little stand with a fist. So it's got Crow's fist in it, as it were. And then, of course, you got the rest of the details in here. You've got the you've got the game disc. You've got the game soundtrack. You've got a huge manual, and you've got the indie box sticker. And yeah, this is actually a really cool game. And what's funny was, as I was playing this on the stream, some people that had the game were like, oh, I need to get back into this game. It is a really interesting game. And this was the May 2017 indie box release. Now the June 2017 indie box release is this game here, Hollow Knight. And I actually just got this last week as of filming. And this is a really cool visual game. It's mostly duotone, very dark, where it's got, you know, lots of blacks and blues. But occasionally when things explode, there's a puff of orange and stuff. But you're running through it as another side-scrolling kind of platforming game. But the guy's got, your Hollow Knight guy's got a really quick sword. He can run through, and there's like a maze. There's kind of like a Metroidvania type of feel to it as well. Although I did have difficulty playing it, trying to figure out where I was, because I don't know if I'm doing anything wrong or reading the map wrong, but I couldn't tell where I was on the map when I finally got one. But again, I like what they're doing with indie boxes now, where it's not coming with a whole lot of just really small stuff, but, you know, just one bigger item. And then this, it came with like one pretty big item, and it is one of these, I don't know what they're called, but it's a little plush. I like the little bag it comes in. I'm not going to take it out of the bag, but so it's a little plush of one of the creatures that you're saving in the game. I don't even remember what they're called, if I ever knew. And then, of course, you've got the indie standard indie box case that has the game and the soundtrack, and you've got the game manual in here, and I think a poster. Yeah, there's a poster in here as well. Oh, look, it's a poster of the map or something. I wish I would have realized that when I started playing it, but oh well, hindsight is 2020. But yeah, really cool game. Out of the two, I kind of like Hollow Knight better, but yeah, I don't know. I think it might just be the visuals kind of pushing me on that way. Alright, so now that all that stuff is out of the way, the rest of this video is going to be PlayStation 4 pickups. And I did pick up a lot of limited run games. But first I'm going to start out with the games that weren't limited run. Kind of your basic games that you could just walk in and buy at a store. And the first of those is Tekken 7. Now, I was on the fence of whether or not I actually wanted to buy Tekken 7 day one. I do have all the other Tekken games. Tekken series is probably my favorite fighting game series. But I've been playing it less and less and less, so I wasn't really too interested in getting this day one. There was a collector's edition that included a steelbook, but it also included this giant statue I wasn't really interested in. I really wanted the steelbook, but again, it wasn't even an issue, because by the time I even noticed it, the whole collector's edition thing was sold out. So I found out that at Best Buy, if you bought it, like if you pre-ordered it at Best Buy or bought it day one or whatever, with the, I think they had, if they had the quantities or whatever, they would give you just an extra steelbook case with the game, and that's what I got. I got this Tekken 7 steelbook from Best Buy. It's kind of an odd steelbook because the name of the game isn't on the cover. And the funny thing is that this steelbook isn't the same one that comes in the collector's edition. This is a different steelbook. You've got the two guys fighting on the cover, and then it just says Tekken 7 on the back. It's honestly kind of a lame steelbook, but honestly, it's a steelbook, so I had to get it. Otherwise, I would have bought it on Amazon and got the 20% off, I think. But I actually paid the full $60 for this. I did play it a bit. I did enjoy it. I didn't like the story aspect of it. The whole story thing was... The whole story mode, I started to play it like halfway through. I was like, I don't want to be playing this. I'd rather be playing... I don't play online because I'd get my ass kicked. But I was playing the arcade mode, and I was playing the mode where you earn points. I like that mode. And occasionally they'll throw in different conditions and stuff, or to fight against, like double speed or whatnot, and earning points. And I really like that mode. That was the mode I was playing. I had to get it. I'm a big fan of Tekken. I have all the other games, so I was going to get this eventually, so I wound up getting it sooner rather than later just because of the steelbook. Next up was a game I was so excited to hear was coming on the PlayStation 4. And I'm just saying, it's Wipeout a Mega Collection. And honestly, the first time I heard about it, I was like, they're not going to release this physically. I just was like, they didn't release the last Wipeout game physically, or the Wipeout HD was on PlayStation 3. HD and Wipeout Fury as well was the expansion pack. They got a physical release of that in Europe, but the US never got a physical release. That's why I was amazed that this has got a physical release. I think it was like $40, and then I bought it on Amazon, got the 20% discount, so it was like $32 or something like that. But this game is amazing. Super fluid. I think it takes advantage of the PS4 Pro with 4K. It looks spectacular on that, so I've heard from a Digital Foundry video. But the game still looks great on 1080p. I mean, I'm stuck in 1080p. I don't see myself going to 4K anytime soon. But, and it's also, if I had to pick a winner for soundtrack of the year, it would go to this game as well. This game has got an amazing soundtrack. And what's funny is that they released the soundtrack online for free to stream, but as far as I know, you can't buy the soundtrack anywhere. If any game needed a soundtrack to be able to buy, it's this one. I mean, Wipeout Excel, I have the soundtrack for that, but I can't get the soundtrack for this? If you don't know what this is actually a mix, a remake, as it were, a remaster of Wipeout 2048 that was on the Vita, and Wipeout HD and Wipeout HD plus Fury that was on the PlayStation 3. And they've upgraded everything. It looks spectacular. I'd say this is a must-have game for anybody on the PS4. Alright, next game here is the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy. I wasn't really sure what this was at first, because I didn't know if it was a new game or if it was remasters of the another game. And actually what it is remasters of the first 3 Crash Bandicoot games. And I really didn't know if I want to get this or not. But after hearing so many people talk about it and everything and how good it was, I wound up going on Amazon and getting it with a 20% discount. I didn't buy it. I didn't pre-order it. I bought it maybe a week after it came out because you can still get the discount for like up to 2 weeks after release. And I was actually streaming this yesterday. I was only planning on playing a little bit of the first game, but no, I played the first game in this collection for 6 hours straight. And I thought I was going to beat the game. I came really close to the end of the game, but then after 6 hours, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm not going to be able to do it right now. Plus, I needed to go to eat and stuff like that. I needed to stop the stream. I might continue playing this sometime in the future, just to beat the first game, and then, who knows, I'll probably go on to the second game. I remember playing the third game in the series a little bit. I don't remember playing the second game so much. I might have. If I do play it, it'll probably trigger whether or not I have actually played it or not, but I do remember beating the first game. And a lot of people are saying, yeah, this game is a lot harder than I remember it. And the thing is, though, I don't actually remember how hard it was. I just remember certain areas having problems with, and sure enough, those areas are the same ones I had problems with again. There was one level that took me almost an hour to beat, just one level. And so the difficulty, it ramps up, it goes down or whatnot. So who knows? It's kind of an uneven game. At least the first one is. I'm sure the second 2 are better. So I'm going to have to play those, I think. I think the problem I had most of the time was judging jumps when I had to jump into the screen. I think that's really it's just so hard to judge how far you're going and whether or not you're going to hit the platform or not. That's something that did not improve with this remake. But yeah, I still think that if you have a PlayStation 4, I still think that this is kind of a must-buy. This and Wipeout must-buys. Tekken, if you're a fan of Tekken, obviously. So, okay, next up is a game I didn't buy in stores. I actually bought this off of Special Reserve Games website. Even though they sold this on limited run as well with a different cover. But this is Strafe. And I just bought this because I didn't know if I'd like it or not. I really didn't know. Because what they did was they made a new shooter, but did it as if it was made in like the late 90s. Like Quake, that kind of thing. So it's got these really dated graphics. It's got this real retro look to it. And what put me over the edge was I kept getting tweets saying, I signed up on the list saying, I'm kind of interested in this game. And they kept sending out tweets, oh, you got this many days to buy it. You got this many days to buy it. And then what kind of triggered me to look into it again was when they sent out an email saying, supplies are running low. So I looked into it, and it turns out by buying this, you also get the code for Steam. And I was like, okay, I'm sold, because I'd rather play this on a PC. But this doesn't come with anything too special, just kind of like this weird artwork piece in here. It's not even a manual. But, yeah, I played it a little bit. I'm kind of on the fence. I don't know. What I thought was amazing, though, was there's a tutorial section where they have this dated VHS-looking footage explaining what you're supposed to be doing or something, or explaining the whole situation to the game or your training or whatever. And I thought that was just amazing. But it was $30. I was on the fence, and I just figured I'd go with it. And if I didn't like it, at least I could sell the PlayStation 4 game and still keep the Steam version. Alright, now we're in limited run games territory. So the rest of this video is just games I got through limited run games. And the first one I'm going to show off here is Ascay Breed. I think that's how you pronounce it. Honestly, I would have had this one in my last pickups video. However, when I went to go play the game, it didn't work. The PlayStation 4 recognized the disc, but then it would start to load, and then it would get an error. And I started looking it up online, and it turns out that there was a batch that Sony pressed without any game data on it. So for those of you who like to buy games and never open them, I suggest opening them and playing them. Otherwise, you're not going to know whether or not the game actually works or not. So I'm willing to bet there are copies out there where people have them sealed, and they're going to sell them in the future. And somebody's going to open it up and try to play it, and they can't because the game just doesn't have any data on it. But anyway, the game itself, I had to get it because it was a shooter. It kind of changes perspective. There's I mean, the thing that kind of turns me off of this particular shooter is that there's so many buttons to know. There's a button for you waving a sword around or something like that, reflecting bullets. There's your regular button for shooting. There's this button for doing that. I honestly, it was actually been some time ago since I played this. I don't even remember anything. I just remember there being a lot of buttons to remember for this game. But it does look pretty cool. So maybe sometime in the future I'll go back to this one. But I do have a shooter coming up that I think kicks this ass. Okay, next game here, limited run games, Nova 111 or Nova 111. I don't really know the proper way to say this. But this game caught my eye because it's a turn-based shooter, if you can believe it or not. So, yeah, there's a whole grid system. You fly through the area. Every time you move, the other enemies move, or every time you shoot, something happens. So you've got to kind of plan out your strategy as you're moving through. You can sit there and wait and think, okay, if I shoot, where's this guy gonna move? If I move here, is this guy gonna shoot? So yeah, it's a really interesting concept, and I just had to get it because it's so off the wall and offbeat. All right, I've got two limited run games here I bought together. When you see them, it'll make sense. But the first one here is Mutant Mudds Deluxe. It's kind of like this running, gunning, jumping, platforming, collecting game. It got really simple graphics, but let's see, it says it's a damn fine game, 9 out of 10 Destructoid. So yeah, this is a game where the graphics are, even though they're not like top of notch or anything like that, it's got really good gameplay. It's a really good platformer, I'll just say. And this game, and then this game I bought also right next to it, Mutant Mudds Super Challenge. It's kind of the same game. It's kind of, it almost is like, why didn't they just put this with this? They could have put it on the same disc, honestly, but this is kind of a different, I don't want to say it's a different game, but you could tell it's been upgraded a bit. You could tell that this is a sequel because the HUD layout is a little bit different, I think, from what I'm remembering. But the whole deal with this game is it's a lot more challenging. It's a lot more difficult. So, you play through this game, and if you haven't had enough, you play this game. I just bought them together because it didn't really make sense to buy one and not the other. I think these were $25 each. I haven't really been mentioning the cost of the limited run games, but they're usually between $25 and $30, to give you an idea. And I think these were $25 each. How could I buy one and not the other? So that's just something I did. All right, next game here, Risk of Rain. I kind of bought this seeing it was a kind of a runner shooter type of deal. It's a roguelike, so when you die, you basically die and you have to start again from the beginning. But basically, that's the whole point of this game. Everything is super tiny. You can see a lot of the screen. And this is a game I didn't come quite to grips with yet. I'm starting to learn it, but again, it's for me, it's super hard to figure it out. And I'm sure that once everything clicks, it'll all make sense. So I'm not really lasting a whole lot. I'm not really lasting too long in this game. But yeah, it's very interesting just seeing how far you could go. There seems to be a lot of limited run games that come out based on indie games that are roguelites, where you die and you just start again from the beginning. I think certain things do level up, so it will get easier as you go along, I believe. Enough of this, let's move on. All right, this one was packaged a little bit differently because it's got this cardboard slip over here, but this is Broken Age. And I was kind of sold on just the fact that it's a point-and-click adventure game, and you don't see a whole lot of those on the PlayStation 4. And you're playing two point-and-click adventure games kind of simultaneously. You can swap back and forth between the two stories. I haven't played super long into this, but I'm going to assume that at some point the two plots intertwine. But it is really interesting. The one plot has a girl that was supposed to be sacrificed to some monster. You play as the girl and you wind up escaping. And then the other plot has a guy who's alone on a spaceship, and the computer kind of runs his life, as it were, and he's trying to escape that as well. So I guess it's two stories about people trying to escape, but it's two totally different elements. So it's very interesting. I want to get back to this sometime in the future. All right, I purposely saved this one for last because it's kind of a whopper from Limited Run Games, and that is Darius. Let's see here, Darius Burst Chronicle Saviors CS. That's CS's Chronicle Saviors. Darius Burst Chronicle Saviors Limited Edition. I was gonna buy this game no matter what. I was just gonna buy the just the game itself. This is just the game itself. This is $50. The limited edition was $100. It was either 50 or 60. I honestly can't remember. But at the last minute, like, you know, the time came to buy it, and I'm like, at the last second, I was like, screw it. I'm just going to buy the limited edition, because why the hell not? And am I glad I did? I don't know. I haven't quite determined whether or not I made the right choice or not. But the game itself, I think there's two different modes. There's the arcade mode, and then there's the consoleized version. What you're actually seeing is the arcade mode, because the arcade mode had 3 monitors side by side. It looks fabulous. The game looks fantastic. This is one of the best shooters I've played in a long time. At least one of the favorite shooters that I've played in a long time. Just because it's so straightforward, simple, but you can see so much of the screen and everything just so amazing. But what comes in this limited box? Like, obviously, you get the game. I don't even think it comes with a manual. Oh, it does come with... Oh, no, it comes with a... Yeah, it just came with that card that most limited run games come with. I didn't check to see whether or not most of these games come with manuals. Most of them don't, actually. But in the box here, we've got a soundtrack. So it comes with a soundtrack. I haven't opened this up yet. And it comes with album 2. I think if you bought the Vita version, they did sell the Vita version. I didn't buy the Vita version. You could have bought the special edition of the Vita version and gotten the first album, I guess. But I wasn't too into that, so... But there's also little figurines that I've already put together in here. Yeah, so there's these 2 little figures in here. They're just the ships in the game. What's funny is that the Japanese version of this box is very similar, except they got 3 ships. Except they got one of the same color and 2 totally different colors. I don't remember what colors they were. I was watching Soft Otaku's video on it. It's kind of what's a little bit sold me on the limited edition when it came out. But I was like, shoot, I'll have the ships and stuff. But at least they fit in the box after I built them as well. So, yeah, that's everything. We'll just leave it at that. Thanks, everyone, for watching. See you all next time. Bye.